What's going on, YouTube? Got another knife review here for you. This is going to be of the Spyderco Techno. This is a collaboration between, I believe, Polish maker, Marcin Slice. There you see his knife maker's symbol. Pretty cool. I always thought it was Anzo, but actually it's different. So Marcin Slice, again, I believe out of Poland, and you can see that this knife is made out of the Taichung, Taiwan plant, which in my opinion is the best Spyderco production plant in the world right now. I think the knives that are coming out of there in terms of quality control and fit and finish, is I think better than the Golden plant, and I think is better than the Seki City plant for the time being. And the fact that you can get them cheaper than U.S. made. Granted, I'm gonna promote U.S. made as much as I can, but when you get a knife like this out of Taiwan, it's pretty impressive. And always keep in mind that the Taiwan plant is different from the China plant, so very different places. And not to get into any kind of political issues there and whatnot. That's not my purpose. Really, I think the plant out of Taichung is awesome. So anyway, that aside, brush that aside. Really quick, compared to Spyderco Leaf Storm, this is a golden. This is a golden Colorado knife, and fit and finish is decent, but it's also just very much more rough cut. It doesn't have these rounded lines on the spine. This is very hard edged, and you got nice bevel work here, which is always cool. But overall, when I compare this knife to the the Techno, I think the Techno is a far superior blade. And obviously that's going to have to do with the design, not necessarily the designer. So, Kevin Wilkins is a great designer, and the stuff he does is great in terms of his custom work. But the overall, finished product in terms of these two collaborations, I definitely think that the Techno is much better. This one also is a collaboration between Shane Seibert and Benchmade. This is one of my favorite production knives, and so I definitely hold these two knives, kind of at the same pedestal in terms of my impressions of these knives. And then here you have the Sebenza, small Sebenza 21, Micardo and Singo, and this is the large Sebenza. So you can see, very, size comparison right there. It's quite a bit smaller than a large Sebenza. Small Sebenza, somewhat comparable, but when you compare it this way, very different knife. I mean, you look at the blade stock here on these two knives, and it's obviously different. How thick this blade stock is on this Techno, if it'll focus here. So you're looking at a 4.5 millimeter thick blade stock versus a 3 millimeter. So that comes out to 0.125 inch blade stock, 0.125 inch blade stock versus a 0.18 inch blade stock. So blade steel choice that they use on this collaboration is Carpenter's CTS XHP blade steel, which is a great steel. I think I like it a lot more, not a lot more, but I do like it more than S30V or S35 personally, and I think it just holds a keener edge, and corrosion resistance probably going to be about the same, but I think wear resistance, not sure about toughness. Actually, I think toughness is supposed to be better because I think it has the similar toughness as D2. So D2 is supposed to be a bit tougher than S30V, and then have the same corrosion resistance as 440C. So, overall functionality of this knife is awesome. I love this knife. Full 4-finger grip, on this knife. Your fingers fit right in all the curves, just perfectly. Again, I have medium-sized hands, so I don't know, for you guys, like Killer Elite. Dave's got these monster paws for his hands, so for him he'd be able to get 2 fingers on this knife, but for me I can get a full 4 fingers on here comfortably. It's got this nice thumb depression right here for my thumb to sit on, so you can really do good precision work. It's got jimping up here, and keep in mind that this is a small knife. It's not a tactical knife, if you will. So I don't know how hardcore you need the jimping to be. This is kind of cool feature, sort of feature. I mean, I'm assuming that this was intentional. You have this dip in the frame right here, so that one, you don't have to get such a high rise on the spine of the blade. So with this little depression on the handle spine, then you have the jimping all the way back here. And it's somewhat functional jimping. It's a little rounded, a little bit smooth, so it's not going to dig into your thumb. Yeah, really, this way it'll dig in, or not really dig in, but it'll push back on your thumb. On the pad of your thumb, it's not going to dig in very much. But again, when you're talking about just working, cutting, it's not gonna slip anywhere. A reverse grip, it's got this nice geared royal blue G10 backspacer, which is nice. This is harder cut actually, so this one digs in to your thumb. But I don't know how you would really hold it reverse grip, where this jimping becomes functional on your thumb. On your hand, I don't know. I don't really know when jimping ever really digs into your palm. So either way, it does not have any hot spots on this knife, which is great. So as a utility knife, like when I look at this knife, I think pure utility. That's what this is. This knife, in some of my other reviews, is definitely much more tactical looking. I feel like this one could scare people. This one, no. I mean, it's a thick blade, but you're not going to think of this as a tactical blade. This is a complete user, complete EDC user. Somebody pulls this out of their pocket, and they're going to be using it to cut something, not someone. So obviously you could cut someone in defense if you needed it. Overall construction, I mean, you just saw how I flipped it out, so smooth. For me, I don't dig my nail in this one. It's so smooth on the on the pad of your thumb that it just sits right in there, and then it flicks right out. Secured by this stop pin right there, and then early lockup, which is just great. Tension on the frame lock is perfect. There's no need for any kind of stabilizer or anything like that, and you're not going to overextend it unless you deliberately push it out. So this has a pretty good tension for its titanium frame lock, and you can see where the cutout relief is. It's pretty thick, comparative to, say, the Leaf Storm. It's probably about the same in terms of the actual relief on the cut there. So, very smooth knife, perfectly centered right out of the box from the factory. I love this knife. I really love this knife. It's so comfortable. I think one of the cool things about these collaborations is it just gives you a taste of these custom makers. I've never handled a custom Southard, but the Southard Flipper gives me at least somewhat of a taste of what his work is like. This makes me very impressed at Martin Slice's work, and I'd love to get a custom, based off of this. For this one, I've looked at Kevin Wilkins' website a lot, and this doesn't make me want to get a Leaf Storm. I like the design; it's kind of cool, but this one doesn't want me to get a custom Leaf Storm, at its price. But this one makes me want to get a custom, Slice. This one makes me want to get a custom Cybert if I had to sell my car, to get one. So yeah, I really enjoy these collaborations, whether it be from Benchmade or from Spyderco. But these late collaborations between Spyderco and all these different custom makers, man, they've been out of the ballpark, in my personal opinion. You know, this one, I love this knife. You know, this one, the Southern Flipper, I love. You know, so anyway, that's a really quick, you know, take on this knife. You know, Spyderco has their little marketing thing, Little Big Knife, and I think they use that for the Dragonfly. I think that's supposed to be a Little Big Knife, but this would eat the Dragonfly for dinner. And that's no knock on the Dragonfly. I like the Dragonfly, but this knife is the definition of Little Big Knife for Spyderco. So definitely a home run, you know, in my opinion, for Spyderco and for Marcin Slice. Definitely looking forward to more work that Marcin does, you know, based on this knife overall. So check it out. It's a great, I think would fill the role as a secondary EDC really, really well. And as a primary EDC, I think it would be great too. You know, with this knife, I just don't feel like I'm missing that much, you know, because it has such a very capable blade, thick blade stock, you know, to do any kind of emergency prying work if I had to do it. And you know, even though I'm sacrificing some length, you know, blade length, you know, but for utility work, I don't think you really necessarily need, you know, that big of a knife. But at the same time, I always typically always carry a larger knife, you know, 3.5 inch or more, you know, for the blade. That's just what I prefer to carry. But yeah, for this knife at 2.5 inches for the blade, I don't think I'm losing that much. Overall length, 6 inches. So anyway, that's my quick overview, a review of the Spyderco Techno. Great EDC option. Okay, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next vid. Take care. Bye.